Abilities! Mario goes metal, Link goes to the past, Yoshi commits tax fraud. What a fun way to enhance any game. Donkey Kong 64 has a ton of abilities. One for you, everyone gets an ability. But not every ability is worth a golden banana. So let's peel back and rank them all on this tier list. Let's start off with all of Cranky Kong's ability potions. Each Kong receives 3 individual potions, with one shared ability, the Simian Slams. Focusing on the leader of the bunch, DK's Baboon Blast. Players get this early in the game, within the first world Jungle Japes, which makes perfect sense because this DK pad is found in every single world. The barrel challenges start off fairly simple, but the difficulty picks up pretty quickly with fast-moving barrels, multiple paths to take, and long-lasting challenges. There's no room for failure. Get it right or get out of the barrel. Fungi Forest is when I start to dread these challenges. You have to get precise with the timing, and all this for a bonus game. If you can't beat the bonus game, good luck returning through the Baboon Blast challenge. I want to like this ability, but I'm gonna have to rank it D for dumb. Next for DK is Strong Kong, available in the second world Angry Aztec. When the DK rap said,
"He's bigger, faster, and stronger too. He's the first member of the DK crew."
I felt that. And these lyrics are so true because look at this lad walking around quicksand, walking around lava like it's nothing. I can't walk on lava, can you? No, I didn't think so. That's why DK is the Strong Kong. I would love to see this ability a little more often, but maybe that would make DK too invincible, you know what I mean? But Rare got really creative with the handful of times the ability is needed. And I love the invisibility aspect of the ability, leaving enemies absolutely clueless of their upcoming butt kicking. This ability is going on A for awesome. If we weren't restricted to crystal coconuts, then forget about it. And last for DK is Gorilla Grab. It's technically an ability. It's a pretty straightforward ability and not very exciting. First introduced in Frantic Factory, and it's hard to get excited about, well, the arcade game. Most of the time, this ability is no different than a Simian Slam switch, or a coconut gun switch, or a music pad for DK. It's just another key that only DK can use, you know what I mean? There's the few rare moments like in Fungi Forest or Creepy Castle where a genuine little puzzle was made out of the switches, and that's fantastic. Certainly the best use of the ability, and I would welcome more of that. We're gonna put this on B tier for not bad, but could be better. Diddy Kong's Chimpy Charge can be accessed as soon as Jungle Japes after unlocking him. This is a fairly undervalued ability. It's only used a handful of times as switches. I'm drawing a blank on when this ability needs to be used outside of Angry Aztec. Regardless, it's great that it's practical outside of switches and can be used anytime as an attack. Sure, it takes a moment to charge up, but Diddy moves pretty quickly when he's ready. And how amazing is it that players can abuse this to glitch past walls? That's a cherry on top of an underdog ability. I'm putting this on A tier. Rocket Barrel Boost. Probably one of the most controversial abilities in the entire game. I mean, on paper, awesome ability. Look at our boy flying around and blasting away on his jetpack. Diddy and his jetpack go together like peanut butter and jelly. It just makes sense. Oh no, bad controls. This is an aspect of Donkey Kong 64 that has humbled me a little. You can't just bash your thumb into the buttons with everything you got and expect to have a smooth flight experience. You gotta be delicate with the buttons. Just some little taps if you want a flawless, breezy time going through these hoops. Nah, we just want to blast off and have an easy time doing it. The controls are rough, yes, but if you spend the time getting comfortable with them, you should become a master pilot. Not a great design, but a fun one. It's also rough how quickly players can go through those crystal coconuts. The cabin challenge in Crystal Caves is insanely difficult. Players will be rushing around to fill those crystal coconuts multiple times. Because of all this, I'm sad to say that it's going on C for crummy. Finishing up Diddy, we have Simian Spring, available in Frantic Factory. And what do you know? A similar ability to Banjo-Kazooie's Shock Spring Jump. I enjoy how quick and easy it is to use, while also being playful to the character. I mean, seriously, what other Kong can pull this off? Is Diddy the only one here with a tail? It's a simple ability that we only see a handful of times. It's neither amazing nor awful, so I'm placing it on B tier. Things are about to get real interesting with Lanky Kong. Starting off with the original Orang stand, available as soon as Jungle Japes, or when unlocking Lanky. This ability is super practical with accessing those hard-to-reach areas, and there's no restrictions to when or how often it can be used. Oh, and look at that, another similarity to Banjo-Kazooie's Talon Trot. It's also a perfect fit to the Kong's character, and when Lanky said, I felt that. A little straightforward ability, going on B tier. Baboon Balloon, available in Frantic Factory. Another great ability that works perfectly with the Kong's goofy design. I don't think it would pair well with another Kong. I like some of the unique challenges that come with this ability, as we can see in these 2 moments in Creepy Castle. Avoiding the toxic sludge and timing out where to land, as well as blowing up to float away in the wind is very creative. It's a real shame that this ability takes such a long time to initiate. Maybe this is getting too personal, but there's this moment in Crystal Caves where Lanky took too long to float up, got knocked over by the fallen debris, and I fell all the way down into the water. It just really gets my blood boiling, and I haven't mentally recovered from it since. Great concept on paper, but I see room for improvement. C tier. Orang Sprint. Oh boy, where to start with this one? How about this? An ability that's available in Crystal Caves, but is required for a Golden Banana in Fungi Forest. Sheesh. That gets on my nerves. Just make this ability available one world earlier. Why couldn't they have done that? I really want to love this ability. Seriously, I do. Who doesn't love a Lanky on Zoomies? But we're limited to crystal coconuts, and the majority of challenges tied to this ability are not fun. Rabbit Race, Beetle Rematch, the Maze and Creepy Castle. I would drop this in F tier if this ability wasn't at least fun to use. Otherwise, I'm putting it on D tier. I feel harsh doing this, but I can't justify C tier. Tiny Kong has some of the best abilities in this game. Starting off with Mini Monkey, available in Jungle Japes or when unlocking her. Mini Monkey makes perfect sense to this character's design. Overall, this ability is used to simply access certain collectibles and challenges behind a small opening in the wall. After a while, it starts to feel a little routine, but I still really enjoy it. I tend to feel really vulnerable when shrinking down and enemies being around me, but these interactions are pretty rare and easy to run past. But some of the best moments in the game are because of Mini Monkey. The race car matches, the mermaid, helping the banana fairy, adventuring in Hideout Helm, and who could forget the boss fight against K. Rool. Peak design. Originally, I had this ability at B tier, but you know what? It's going up to A tier. Moving on to one of my favorite abilities of all time, Ponytail Twirl, available in Frantic Factory. And what better timing, because this ability is needed to go up against one of the best boss fights of the game. When Tiny Kong said, "Whee!" I felt that. Okay, that was the last time, I promise. I mean, this mid-air hover is perfect for this Kong, and it makes sense to have this if Dixie isn't in the game. The girlies and their twirl hovers are goated.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
This ability is fun, accessible early on in the game, and available to use with 0 restrictions. And on top of that, I tend to default to Tiny just for easy exploration. Anytime I find myself needing to reach difficult areas, typically Tiny is the Kong for the mission. Without a doubt, S tier. Monkey Port, an ability available in Crystal Caves. It's something, I guess. I gotta say, this one is kind of a letdown. To get this ability so late in the game, and after using DK, Diddy, and Lanky's pads for more than half of the game, we go such a long time wanting to use Tiny's pad. And it's really just a warp pad for Tiny. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. Cranky, come on, whip us up a different potion, man. This stuff is weak. I can't even think of another ability for Tiny, but there has to be something better. It feels like Rare couldn't think of a better method to lock the entrance to Hideout Helm, or locking the giant Kosha in Crystal Caves. Like, why is Tiny the only one who even has access to this thing? It's fine. I like that it moves quickly, and I like that the player can access both sides at ease, instead of the regular warp pads needing to visit both sides before actually using them. This one is a C tier. The one hell of a guy Kong is definitely accurate, because Chunky has some banger abilities. Hunky Chunky, available in jungle shapes, or really when unlocking him. I don't even need to explain much about this one. He go big to biggest. We've seen some awesome challenges when using this ability. The toy boss in Frantic Factory, squashing those evil tomatoes in Fungi Forest, the Dogadon rematch, smacking K. Rool in the final boss fight. This ability is epic. And I love how enemies are terrified by Chunky when he goes Big O mode. And how cool is it that Chunky can climb these unclimbable trees when Hunky Chunky? Wish we saw more of that. It's a shame that this ability is restricted to crystal coconuts, but I'd argue the game is very forgiving for the truly epic moments in the story. This is going way up on A tier. Primate Punch, another ability available to Chunky right when players unlock him in Frantic Factory. What a time to be the last unlockable character. Chunky, you're behind. Here's 2 abilities. Primate Punch is definitely another perfect design for the character. It has the player realizing just how strong Chunky is. If DK can't knock down a metal gate, that really speaks to how painful of a punch Chunky is throwing. Love that there's no restrictions to when and how often this punch can be used. Honestly, it's like a better version of Diddy's Chimpy Charge. And what a deadly combo. Hunky Chunky and Primate Punch? Yeah, you're done, K. Rool. I'm putting this higher up on A tier. Gorilla Gon, another late ability available in Crystal Caves. But unlike Tiny's rather disappointing monkey port, Chunky's pad is really exciting and also fitting to his character. The guy who doesn't want to get picked in the tag barrel goes invisible. Of course. I have mixed feelings because this ability is not very different from DK's Strong Kong. I mean, I don't believe Chunky is invincible, but I totally love the invisible aspect of Gorilla Gon. My biggest gripe is that this ability comes so late in the game. I understand these abilities need to be spread out throughout the game as evenly as possible, but considering 2 of Chunky's 3 abilities come right when unlocking him, waiting 3 worlds for a new ability just feels so long. And this ability moves fast. Players don't have any say in how long this ability lasts. Unlike stacking up crystal coconuts. I feel like maybe Hunky Chunky should have been the pad and Gorilla Gon being a barrel. I don't know. It's still an awesome ability, and it's awesome that it's used in the K. Rool fight. I say B tier is fair. To finalize Cranky's last ability potion, I'll rate all 3 iterations of the Simian Slam as 1. That being the green Simian Slam, the blue Super Simian Slam, and the red Super Duper Simian Slam. I mean, they all essentially accomplish the same thing at the end of the day. Why split this up into 3s? It's great that this ability comes so early in the game. I mean, literally within the first 2 minutes of the game. It's easy to use, there's no restrictions on using it, and it's practical for opening switches and for battle. And I love that it's an ability that receives upgrades and immediately available to all Kongs at once. The upgrades are somewhat unnecessary. I mean, they're designed to keep the player from advancing too far in the game, but I will never get tired of the new animations that come from upgrading to the blue and red switches. The first upgrade doesn't come until Fungi Forest, which is practically halfway through the game, so it's an unexpected and pleasant surprise. I'm putting this on A tier. Funky Kong has some crazy upgrades. I'm definitely curious to know how you all feel about these. Starting with the gun upgrades, they're very practical and easy to use. I probably use the guns to mostly blast open door switches or, of course, banana balloons, but in certain situations it's very helpful just as a weapon. This blueprint for DK and Frantic Factory is such a pain to access. I have a fear of taking a hit from the enemy and falling all the way down to the first floor, so I've made a habit of pulling out that coconut gun and blasting away until he drops that blueprint. Then I make the leap. It's a solid tool, but working with the 3D space of a Nintendo 64 is far from ideal. Otherwise, no major complaints. A tier. The ammo belt upgrades are real lifesavers. Locked and loaded with an ammo belt limitation of 50 is brutal. When I was a kid, I would run out of ammo pretty quickly. Maybe that's just because I was a kid and wasn't great at aiming in video games and didn't know how to conserve ammo. But still, 50 is low. Getting that first upgrade in Frantic Factory from 50 to 100 is amazing. Then to go from 100 to 200 in Crystal Caves, we're unstoppable. We're dumping a lot of banana coins into Funky, but hey, we need these Kongs locked and loaded. Another A tier. The homing ammo is a huge surprise to me. I mean, I never saw such an upgrade coming. Funky has been cooking. The loud sound when firing at enemies is really satisfying. Those dang zingers have a real threat against them. I love the fact that the homing ammo carries into bonus stages, making something like Busy Barrel Barrage a breeze. Though I truly wish there was a way to switch between regular ammo and homing. It's a shame to waste homing ammo in moments when it's not necessary to use, and I just want to save them. It's a good one, but this is going in B tier. We're wrapping up Funky Kong with the final upgrade, the Sniper Sight. On paper, I think this ability is awesome and pretty historical. The Kongs using a scope is just a funny mental image to me. For an upgrade that shows up near the end of the game, and a pricey upgrade, it's unfortunately not the most practical upgrade. I remember entering the tree in Creepy Castle and wondering why DK's coconut gun wasn't hitting the target. At the time, I thought the game was broken or something. Then you finally find Funky, who's hidden in a weird, hard-to-find spot, and you get this scope. Oh, that's kind of dumb. The other upgrades are either a solution or a neat surprise, but the scope, it's a solution to a problem that the developers made up just for this world. And it's not really a fun upgrade. On top of that, the scope creates lag. So for the poor souls who save the mechanical fish for later, you're screwed. You can't get this golden banana with the sniper sight attachment. The lag makes it impossible. Like genuinely, actually impossible. I'm sorry, but that's messed up. F tier. Candy Kong and her melons are underappreciated, and I'm talking about watermelons, the life melons. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The first upgrade we get from Candy are the instruments, and I only recently realized that we first meet Candy Kong in Angry Aztec instead of the first world. But the instruments are arguably the best and strongest tool for the Kongs. Sure, the instrument pads behave as Simian slam switches or gun switches to start up events, but so long as you have enough headphone charges, the Kongs can play their instrument at any given time. And they obliterate any and all enemies in sight. That's insane! Whenever I go up against the mechanical fish challenge, I just blast away those zingers with Diddy's guitar. Got a tough baddie giving you a hard time? Those Koshas and Crowbots are finished. Just play your tune and they are defeated immediately. I don't think we talk enough about how goated this ability is. And each instrument feels perfect for each Kong. TK and the bongos, of course. Diddy rocking out on guitar, who else? Tiny and her sassy sax, you know it, babe. Lanky on a goofy trombone, I mean, of course he would be a brass player. Timid Chunky on a triangle, but of course. Yeah, it's going on S tier, as deserved. So going back to Candy's melons, getting a second melon life as early as Angry Aztec is game changing. Knowing that I can go from 4 hits to 8 hits just makes me feel more secure and confident in my adventure. There's room for error, and a game over is less likely to happen. Then going to 3 melon lives from Crystal Caves is fantastic. Didn't even know it was on the table and will happily take it. This upgrade is an underdog and a necessity. These melons are going on S tier. That leaves us with the music energy upgrades. Candy is fairly underappreciated throughout this game, and it might be because of the lack of upgrades. Well, creative upgrades to be more specific. But the music upgrades are still valuable. Going from 10 to 15 in Gloomy Galleon, then 15 to 20 in Crystal Caves, then finally up to 25 in Creepy Castle, it's huge. Especially if you're planning on abusing the instruments to wipe out an entire room. It isn't the sexiest upgrade, but it's certainly helpful. I'll place it on B tier. Take a gander at the full list on screen and let me know your thoughts in the comments. For more S tier videos during Donkey Kong December, be sure to stick around for tomorrow's video. And be sure to subscribe for a golden banana. Thanks and take care.
Yeah.